When I was in elementary school, my father would often take me hiking in the mountains. One night we had stayed out too long and it began to grow dark. A thick fog drifted over the hillside and we could barely see the path in front of us. My father was holding my hand to make sure I didn't fall. As we made our way down the slope, I noticed a small, shadowy figure appearing out of the mist on the path ahead. My father suddenly squeezed my hand very tight. "Ow, Dad, that hurts!" I cried. My father looked down at me. His face was grim. "Close your eyes," he barked, "and don't open them again until I say so." His tone of voice was so stern that I did as I was told without questioning it. He kept a tight grip on my hand, and with my eyes tightly shut, I stumbled along beside him through the fog. When we passed the spot where we saw the shadowy figure, I heard a small voice muttering, "Die, die, die, die." The rest of the way down, my father was silent, and it wasn't until we got back home that he finally allowed me to open my eyes. Since that time, he has refused to speak about the incident. 20 years later, I paid my father a visit. He was drinking some alcohol and we were having a heart-to-heart conversation. Something reminded me of the strange incident on the mountain path and I decided to ask him about it. "Remember that small shadowy figure in the fog?" I said. "Who was it?" My father was silent for quite a while and eventually, in a low voice, he replied, "It was you." With that, he refilled his glass and refused to discuss it any further. You've made a lot of them, but you've always managed to escape the consequences so far. You know that flash out of the corner of your eye? Like picking up some peripheral movement just out of sight? And then you turn your head and there's nothing there. That was one of the times you've made a mistake. That creeping, unsettling feeling that you're being watched. That there is something dark and sinister near that can see you. That's a warning tens of thousands of years of instinct has driven into your body that you're about to make a mistake. And that unexplained bruise, that fresh cut you can't remember receiving. Those times you wake up sweating, screaming, and breathing like you just run a marathon and can't remember why. Those are the times when they almost got you. What are they? Well, it's hard to describe. Imagine trying to explain red to a blind man. You can't really explain it. You just have to experience it for yourself. And you really don't want to experience this. I can tell you that you're just one thing to them. Food. And they can keep you alive for quite a long time while they eat. You've probably heard at least one unexplained sound while reading this. Maybe it's nothing, but sometimes it's one of them trying to break through to find you. But they won't, not unless you make a mistake. When you make a mistake, it's like dangling a piece of meat in front of a pack of hungry dogs, and then yanking it away again. Sometimes they don't react quick enough. Sometimes they do. There were so many unsolved disappearances over the centuries. It's hard to tell how many were victims of their own kind, and how many simply made one too many mistakes. You see, it's when people are most worried about making mistakes that they tend to mess up the most. What mistakes are there to make? If I told you that, you'd just make sure you didn't do any of them anymore, and that would be a shame. We almost got you last time. I have to get out. The walls, twisted rebar, and cracked concrete seem to stretch on forever. I can't remember where I am, why I came to be here. I can't even remember my last name. All I know is that if I get out, I will live. If I don't, I have to get out. I can hear it behind me. That chuckle echoing down the hallway. Oh God, it's coming for me. An exit to the right. My jog becomes a sprint once again. A parade ground drum booming in my ears. So close, I'm yards away, feet from the door. Suddenly, ground. My face smacks into the dirtied concrete hard enough to feel something break. I turn, looking for the object that tripped me. Blood gushes from my nose, staining my shirt and pants. But I don't have time to care. One thought takes control of all others. One motive guides my body with an otherwise unnatural will. I have to get out. In my frenzied state, it takes me a moment to focus on the figure limping slowly towards me, to realize the danger. He is tall, thin as a corpse, and white as a sheet. His dark suit is immaculate, his long limbs seeming to stretch beyond the right proportions. A long black cane, topped with a metal figurehead, is clenched tight in his fist. Two long fingers overlapping the pommel like a bad Halloween glove. Wispy white hair cascades around his balding cranium, draping over his shoulders like unkempt vines. His face is the worst, with few features that seem to only highlight the wrongness of the absent ones. Twin ovals set deep in the two high eye sockets. Twin pits from the abyss stare into me, into my soul. His smile is too large, too wrong. Overcrowded teeth line in a lipless maw that stretch the length of his head. Saliva leaks through gaps in his teeth, caught by the polite tapping of a kerchief in his free hand. The fiend takes few steps towards me, his gait awkward, like a teenager that hasn't quite come to grips with a growth spurt. I back up. Turn, furiously crawling towards the door, crawling towards my salvation. I grasp the handle, pull madly at the doorknob. The door swings open to reveal nothing. A wall, like something out of a lurid comic strip, lies before me. Crudely daubed on the surface is a pictogram of a smiling face, surrounded by tally marks that are too numerous to count. The pigment dried as a dark brown, but I know its original color would have been red. Sanguine. A titter, a mad giggle from behind me, awkward footsteps, helped by a cane, close already, negligible distance between us. Oh God, I can't get out. In Columbia, South Carolina, there's an abandoned insane asylum at the corner of Bull and Elmwood. Should you enter it and travel up through its winding stairs to the second floor, you will find a large treatment area. There's a table opposite of the entrance of this room, which is piled high with hundreds of razor blades. Many people have reported a strange urge to take one of these rusted blades and cut a small X into the center of their forehead, in a location corresponding with the pineal gland. Few ever give in to this urge. Those who push aside their fears of tetanus and other infections have reported a sudden blinding headache and whiting out of vision. When they regain some sight, they all claim to have witnessed black humanoid silhouettes upon further investigation of the asylum. These shadow people never have been known to interact with these people, generally just emitting a muttering from unformed lips as if whispering to themselves. Others seem content in simply huddling their dark masses in the corners of the hallways and cells. Select people, however, have reported encountering a shadow entity that universally call the administrator. This being is said to be sitting in the administrative office, made of dark shifting energies akin to the other shadow inhabitants, but with a few consistent, discernible features. These include a dark hood obscuring much of its face, and glowing eyes that seem to reflect the light of the room. Strangest of all, the administrator is always said to possess what appears to be a canine muzzle with rows of sharp teeth. All who have encountered him have fled instantly, fearing the sharp, unmistakable malignancy and intelligence housed within its dark eyes. A few people have even reported a later sensation of always being watched, occasionally catching out of the corner of their eyes glimpses of a large black dog. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you'd like to, you can follow me at Twitter. The handle is @FuzzyPantaloons, and I'll see you all next time.